Classic cars. Antique cars. They bring up feelings of nostalgia and romance. And even if you're not an auto aficionado, you can identify the generation of the car based on a few elements of the car. The headlights, the tail lights, and the overall body style of the car all indicate the generation the car is from. At the beginning of the automotive era, all vehicles were based on the design of the horse-drawn carriage. There were no headlights, no taillights, no front engine compartments. The wheels were very thin and spoked just like a bicycle or a wagon wheel. In the 1900s and the 1910s, lights appeared toward the front of the vehicle. These lights were actually gas-filled lanterns. There were additional lanterns by the windshield on the driver and the passenger sides. Thus, there were 4 lights in the front. A small engine compartment appeared with a grill to protect the engine, and a single red lantern hung from the rear of the vehicle to warn other vehicles of its location. In the Roaring '20s, the flamboyancy of the age translated into the car design. Engines became larger and hoods became longer. The lights became larger and became new electrical lights. The secondary lights that had been by the windshield were now gone. And a single, small, round electrical tail light was usually attached to the upper rear of the vehicle. The introduction of hood ornaments became all the rage. Originally meant to be radiator caps, these ornaments became iconic symbols of the excitement of the era. In the 30s, the concern for aerodynamic design and less drag became evident. Fenders became attached to the main body, and swooping, curvaceous lines and Art Deco designs were everywhere. The fascination with the locomotive was also obvious, as the grills became more oval, with vertical bars to look like the front of a locomotive. There were now 2 circular tail lights, one on the left fender and one on the right fender. And the headlights were attached to the outside of the front fenders. The advent of the World War II caused the innovation in auto design to fail. Shortages of materials impacted creativity and the use of chrome. Larger, rounder, heavier bodies were the trademark of the 40s. The grills became more horizontal in shape, and the headlights and the taillights were now built into the frame of the body. Post-war optimism ignited the auto industry throughout the 50s. The fascination with jet air travel and rockets translated into fanciful designs and futuristic elements. Elements looking like bombs or bullets were plentiful in the cars. Headlamps were encased in chrome and hooded, and taillights were encased in fins. Fins implying speed and rocket power. Taillight lenses were often conical and pointed in the shape of jet flames. The 60s reflected a rebellion against the 50s era and thought, no more warplane elements. There were longer bodies with larger trunk and engine compartments. And now horizontal and vertical quad headlights were introduced. Grills were still horizontal, but became more grid-like. And taillights had several innovations, sometimes separated into several small circles for one, and a rectangular taillight was introduced towards the end. Sports cars became muscle cars, shorter but bulkier in shape to imply power. This was the horsepower generation. You've seen the transition of the automobile from the simple horseless carriage to the Art Deco masterpieces of the 30s, the optimistic jet designs of the 50s, to the muscle cars of the 60s. By examining the headlights, the taillights, and the body style, you can now identify the generation of the car rolling down the street.